and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do something a little bit different and take you behind the scenes in a day in my life as a food blogger. So if you're not familiar with my channel or if you're new, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. So just to give a little bit of background, so I went to pastry school in 2018 and then worked full-time as a pastry cook for about a year. And I also started a food blog called The Baker's Almanac in 2019, and I've been shooting videos and producing content for that ever since. Before I created The Baker's Almanac, I honestly didn't really know how much went into having a food blog because you see all the beautiful pictures and the recipes, but to make those, there's so much content planning, creating content calendars. You have to test the recipes, shoot the photos, write the posts, develop videos like this. You have to share everything on social media. There's just a lot of steps that goes into it. And I actually have another full-time job completely separate from this. It's in publishing, and I do that Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So I usually spend my weekends and sometimes evenings here and there working on blog content. So today I'm actually devoting mostly just to blog content creation. It is Saturday, May 30th. Oh my God, we're almost in June. And I'm just gonna take you through my day and show you what I'm up to. The plan for today is I'm testing a recipe for some homemade strawberry Pop-Tarts, and I'm going to be finalizing the recipe and shooting some photos, so I'll show you how that process works. I'll also show you kind of how I brainstorm and plan out my content calendar, and then the basics of kind of working on my blog post and getting everything formulated. This recipe is actually a bit unique because I actually created it and put it on my website last September. So there actually is already a recipe for it. I'm not starting entirely from scratch, but I'm not really pleased with how the photos look. I think my food photography game has leveled up quite a bit since then, so I know I can take better photos. And I'm also making some tweaks to the recipe itself to make it more advanced and just change things up a little bit. So yeah, excited to walk you through my day. It's about 10:45 right now in the morning. I already got up this morning, I did a workout, I had some iced coffee and pancakes for breakfast, one of my favorite weekend traditions, and I'm getting into work now. Since starting my blog, I found that one of the most important things to do is to kind of create a content calendar and have everything planned out. That way each week when I go to create recipes or make videos, I know exactly what I'm planning on doing and I'm not going in blind. Personally, I love to do this in Asana, and so I just use the free version. I think you can pay for one, but the free one works amazingly well. And then I just have a couple different tabs here. So I have one for blog posts, YouTube, and then ongoing tasks. So if I jump into blog posts, I can look at it kind of in a calendar view. So like this is the one that I'm working on today, and it kind of has a breakdown for like all the different steps. And as I do each one, I'll check it off and then finally check off the entire thing. And I can see a breakdown of what I have coming up in the upcoming months. And I also like to look at it on a board style. So this is just an idea backlog of all the different recipe ideas I'd like to do at some point. These are ones that I've scheduled in for the upcoming months. And then as they're in progress, for instance, this one today, I'm gonna put to in progress. And then once I finish it, I'll move it over into the complete. So it's actually kind of really cool to see. I've done all these recipes in the past, and if I scroll through, there's tons of them. So I just, I get a little feeling of pride when I look at this. I've come pretty far in my blogging journey, so it's cool to see. But I just find this really helpful, and it just kind of keeps me on track. Moving over then, I do the same thing for YouTube. I've been really trying to get one YouTube video out every week just to grow my channel and get some unique content out there for everyone. And I do the same thing. I have an idea backlog, 2020 videos planned out. I do kind of move these around here and there. Like for instance, I have the day in the life of a food blogger scheduled for June 24th, but I actually might move this one up just because I'm filming it a bit earlier. And then these are the completed videos. I cannot recommend Asana enough. I think it's just really great in terms of staying organized. You do have to sit down and kind of plan all these ideas out just to get ahead of it, but I think it's really worth it to stay on track. Back to today's recipe, which is the homemade strawberry Pop-Tarts. So a big tip that I have is that it's really important to kind of break the recipe down and do as much as possible ahead of time if you can. So for instance, I already made the pie dough for this recipe. I spent some time yesterday working on that. And then this morning I'm going to make the strawberry jam that goes into the Pop-Tarts. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and finalize the Pop-Tart recipe, bake them off, and then shoot the photos. I find that if I do all of it all at once, I get a little overwhelmed and burnt out, so it's just really helpful to space it out. I'm gonna go and work on the strawberry jam now. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'll walk you through the rest of the day. I'm gonna let this sit at room temperature just to cool off for a little bit because I need it to be cool before I make the Pop-Tarts. While that's working, I'm gonna actually head out to the farmer's market. There's one near us, just a short walk away. I want to pick up some fresh strawberries for a picnic tomorrow that we want to do, and I'm also gonna see if they have any peaches because we're about time for peaches and I haven't had any yet this season. And then just take a quick look around. Obviously we're still social distancing here in New York City, so I'm going to wear my mask and be careful, but it's just a quick little walk over. This is really hard to do with one hand. Do not recommend. Berries or peaches like I wanted, but I ended up getting some arugula, some cilantro, and then some Honeycrisp apples. So I think those will be super delicious. I love getting fresh fruit from the market when I can, just because it's locally sourced and a bit nicer quality than I can get at the grocery store, and it's a nice way to get out of the house during quarantine right now. I don't know if the guy intended it, but literally it's like Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and then Baby Bear. It's the tiniest apple I've ever seen. Okay, that was a nice little break. It's just good to get outside and enjoy the fresh air, but I'm gonna start working on the Pop-Tart recipe now. And also I apologize if you hear a noise in the background. I have the AC running because it's dreadfully hot, so just ignore that if you hear it. This recipe, like I said, because I've done it before, it's a bit different in terms of the testing process. Normally recipes will take like 2, 3, sometimes even more times to test, just to make sure that they're perfect before posting online. But this one, I know it works. I'm just making some small tweaks, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the whole recipe, bake off the Pop-Tarts, and then see how they turned out before shooting some photos. flour. I think the crimping around the edges makes a huge difference. And then you have to make slits in the top like this just because the jam will burst otherwise. So these look perfect. I'm gonna finish up the rest, egg wash all of them, and then bake them off and see how they turn out. The Pop-Tarts are in the oven, and I was getting a little hungry, so I made myself some lunch and also another cup of coffee because it's the weekend. Who am I kidding? I have 2 cups of coffee every day. I always find that on weekend days I like to have like a sweet breakfast, and then I usually end up having eggs for lunch. I meal prep for lunch during the weekdays, but we're out of groceries right now, and this is the best I can do. But I'm just eating this while the Pop-Tarts finish baking, and I'm watching some YouTube videos to pass the time. So, bon appetit. It is so freaking hot in our apartment right now. We have the AC on full blast, and I'm still struggling. But the Pop-Tarts are out of the oven. I'm just gonna frost them now, and I'm gonna set up my photography station. I'll show you what it looks like and kind of what I do. I shoot mostly entirely in natural light, and I do it right by the window, so I'll show you how I set that up and then walk you through the process of taking some photos. Alright, I'm gonna show you some real behind the scenes right now. I'm actually going through all these sprinkles and just picking out the white ones because, oh my god, I'm crazy. Because I was gonna use all of them, but as I started to like decorate these Pop-Tarts, I just didn't like how it looked. So I'm deciding to just do the white sprinkles, and I think that looks quite cute. It looks a bit more like formal and dressed up. So I'm gonna pick out all these sprinkles and then shoot some photos. Okay, I'm finally calling it quits. I spent like 15 minutes pulling out all those sprinkles, and I decided to add some red ones just because I think it kind of gives it a pop of color, and it's really going to show up well when it's on camera. But I think they turned out really cute. I really like how this looks more than if I'd done all the sprinkles. That just looks kind of like funfetti, like kind of childish to me. Whereas this, I think once we photograph them, they're going to look a bit more elevated. I am really excited to see how these look, and spoiler alert, I tried one and they're super delicious, so you should definitely make them once I release the blog post. So when it comes to shooting photos, I usually use these 2 whiteboards. So just to give you context, they're on top of an end table. But I bought these at Home Depot. They're just like normal wood boards, and then I painted them white, and it just works as a really good backdrop for food photos. I would eventually like to get some nicer surfaces. You can actually buy like pre-made ones that are marbled or different textures, but just for now, this one, these 2 work really well. And then I do it right next to the window, and it's pretty sunny out today. So, oh, hello, are you gonna help? It's always a struggle when I'm shooting photos to not have them walk all over everything or try to eat it. Anyways, it's pretty sunny today, so I prefer to shoot on days that are cloudy because it really diffuses the light beautifully. But I will use our curtains just to kind of block the sunlight and make it a bit softer. I'm gonna start taking the photos, see how they're turning out, and then I'll just adjust this as necessary until the photos look good. Quits on the photos. I spent about 45 minutes taking photos, and it is still very hot in here. I might have to take a second shower of the day because I'm just burning up, but I'm pretty happy with how the photos turned out. There's always like a small part of me that wishes they could be better. Like I have a vision for what I want my photos to be like, but I'm not quite there. But if you look at the before photos and the after, I'll insert some here so you can see, I definitely feel like I'm improving. And I just get better each time I take them. So taking it one step at a time. Anyways, the next step is going to be editing the photos and then working on the blog post. I sometimes get a bit overwhelmed if I do all of that in one day. So we'll see how far I get today. It's about 4 o'clock now. I'm gonna start winding down and relaxing tonight. So we'll see how far I get, but I'll keep you updated. The not so fun part is cleaning all this up. So to take all of this over back into the kitchen, And of course I get like sprinkles and things everywhere when I'm shooting photos, so I'm gonna have to vacuum everything up. And yep, this is kind of the finished setup. All of this has to be cleaned up. Just have random crap strewn everywhere, vacuum. Let's go. I also managed to get powdered sugar all over my pants. This is why you don't wear black when you're baking. Learn from my mistakes. Probably have to go change into something more comfortable before I start editing. I've saved all the leftover Pop-Tarts here in this Tupperware, and we'll just snack on this over the next couple of days. It's tricky with all this baking and recipe testing because it is just 2 of us in the apartment, but we do our best to go through it. And back when Kyle was in the office, or I was in the office, we would take it in and share it with coworkers. But for now, we'll just eat as much as we can. Welcome to my laptop. So when I'm editing photos for a blog post, I usually will create a new folder on my desktop. And then I will have 2 folders within there. I'll have unedited and then edited. And I just upload everything from my SD card into the unedited folder. And these are all raw files, so the CR2, so I can't open them up except for in like Photoshop or Lightroom. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start Lightroom, which is the platform that I use to edit my photos. And then I go through each of them and I star the ones that I think are the best options, and then I'm going to edit them individually and decide which ones will be the final ones. Oops. Uploading all of them. That's just an old photo. It's actually our new home gym. We bought some Bowflex dumbbells and a little bench, and it's really nice to have that in our apartment during quarantine. Okay, here they are. Let me just make sure computer brightness is up all the way. I'll just scroll through a little bit and show you the photos that I took today. These are some of the last ones I took, and I think they turned out really well. There's a little bit of glare, but quite like how they turned out. Going through a bit faster. This is an overhead shot. I'm gonna have to kind of like flip that one because it's not the right way. But I'll just show you a couple of the different shots I got. This one was kind of the first iteration of that last one, and I kept improving until I got the shot I wanted. These are some that I was just experimenting with. I don't think turned out that great. I tried doing kind of like this stack of Pop-Tarts that I don't really love how that turned out. These ones are okay. And then this was the first one, kind of just like the overhead view. And so these ones, they don't look great right now, but you can kind of like crop and pull it in and then tweak it a little bit, and I think they'll be alright. So yeah, I'm gonna go through all these, figure out which ones I think are the best. I'll start editing and then show you how they look. Alright, the photos are all edited. These are the final products. Oh, I'm so happy with how they turned out. I was looking back at my old ones and it's just night and day transformation. If you are interested in learning more about like how to improve your food photography, I highly recommend doing foodtography school. This is not sponsored in any way, but I took that program, or it's like an online course you can go through. I did that earlier in 2020, and it's really helpful to learn about like composition of photos and lighting and all that. So I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's a little pricey, but I found it super useful, and I just think it helped improve my photography skills, which is super helpful for me growing this business. So I'll just show you the different ones. This is probably my favorite, or maybe my top, there's like 2 top ones. This is one of my favorite ones. Another version. I really like how this one turned out. I always struggle with overhead shots, and you saw me getting this one, but I think it turned out quite nice. another overhead one, and then this guy. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, there's just some different angles to look at. Nothing too crazy, but it'll give me lots of variety when I'm taking, when I'm choosing Instagram photos rather. So I'm happy with how these turned out. I'm gonna get the files all cleaned up and ready to go and then start working on the blog post. I am back on my blog now, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna remove all these old photos and put in the brand new ones. And I think that a lot of the text is pretty good. I might just do some tweaks to the content and the copy there, but it's pretty straightforward. And then down at the bottom, I did make some changes to the recipe. And the new recipe yields like 11 Pop-Tarts instead. I changed up the pie dough. I added in a new pie dough recipe. So I'm gonna change all of this and hopefully finalize it today. And then I think the other items, like making a pin for Pinterest, working on some like plans for social media and things like that, I might do tomorrow because it is getting kind of late, but I think I can get this wrapped up this afternoon. I just finished writing the recipe and updating all the photos, and it looks really good. I'm planning to put this post live on Wednesday, and it's Saturday, so a couple days, and I'm going to proofread over it tomorrow, look at everything, make sure it looks good. But it's about done. I still need to make a Pinterest image and then just finalize everything, but it's in really good shape. So let me show you what it looks like right now. So this is the updated recipe with these new photos. I kept some of the text, but I added some new sections like tips for making the Pop-Tarts, as well as helpful tools. For my posts, I really just try to make them as valuable for the reader as possible, give them all of my best tips and tricks, as well as the different tools that I use. And these are also Amazon affiliate links, so if anyone buys this product, I will receive a small commission. Just another way that I can generate some passive income from my blog. Going down, I added an FAQ section at the bottom. These are just kind of general templates that I keep in all of my blog posts, just because I find them helpful for my readers and they're just good to have. I also link a couple different other recipes that readers might enjoy. In this case, because it's strawberry, I linked other strawberry recipes, and these always open in a new tab, so it doesn't take them away from the page when they're looking at it. And then I updated the recipe image, as well as the text for the recipe itself. So I have the new pie dough information, frosting, and then all of the instructions. This is quite a comprehensive recipe, so the instructions look gigantic, but they're all needed for this particular recipe. I also include nutrition facts for every recipe. I use that with a app called NutriFox, which I highly recommend. And then just one last photo down here. But yeah, that's the whole recipe. The whole blog post is pretty much done, like I said. I'm just gonna go in and do a couple things. But while I'm here, let's go back over to my Asana board that I showed you this morning. So I'm gonna open back up this particular one and let's check off everything I did today. So I developed and tested the recipe, the photos are done, and I wrote the blog post. So looking at this now, this is what I have left to do. So SEO and readability checks, those I'm going to do actually within my WordPress itself, but I'm thinking I'll do that tomorrow just to give myself a bit of a break tonight. I use a plugin called Yoast SEO to optimize my posts for search, and then readability is just reading it over, proofreading, etc. I'm going to make the pin on Canva tomorrow, This one I'm gonna check off because, like I said, this recipe is one that I've made in the past, so I don't need to test it many times. I'm pretty much finalized with it now. And then just proofread and finalize. So all of those remaining steps I think I'm gonna wrap up tomorrow, and then the blog post will be good to go on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure this video will be coming out a day after that blog post is up, so I'll leave it linked in the description box below if you want to check it out and see the final product. This is also going to be kind of meta, but I'm going to walk you through this too. So under my YouTube section here, I went ahead and I moved a day in the life of a food blogger into in progress. And let me just actually go ahead and copy over these like step-by-step instructions for each video. Cool. So like I said, this is kind of meta, but I'm going to check off film video because I just filmed the entire video. You just watched it. And next on the list for this is going to be to edit it and find some music. I use Epidemic Sound for all of my YouTube music because it's royalty free and just really easy to use. Record voiceover, that's actually applicable if I'm doing like recipe videos, but since this one is not, I can check that off. And then I'll do a thumbnail and then upload to YouTube. So this project is going to be due, I'm going to change the date so that it's due next Thursday because I think I'm going to make it live then. Oops, not July 2nd. It'll be June 4th. So I'll wrap that one up as well. But yeah, I just find it really helpful to update my status on where I am with things in Asana just so I'm ready for upcoming tasks. Okay, I think that's a wrap on today's video. I have no idea how long it is, so if you watched through to the end, you are an absolute trooper and I appreciate your support. If you did enjoy this video, it means so much if you hit the like button down below. And if you want to see future videos like this from me, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. I share new baking tips and tricks and recipes each week. And I also love filming ones like this, which are a bit more behind the scenes, showing you what goes into running a food blog and a food YouTube channel. So if you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments below and I can definitely make them for you. Until next time, happy baking everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!